I consider Mark 10:45 the greatest leadership lesson of any person, anytime, anywhere. But it has a backstory. Jesus and the apostles are approaching Jerusalem for the final time. You know that he's going to be crucified. They think he's going to be coronated. So they begin to kind of argue for chief seats. Who gets what cabinet appointment when he comes into power? Two of them come out of the shadows, James and John. And they come with their mother, Salome. Now, Salome is also Jesus' aunt, so there's a bit of nepotism going on. And they ask a question, pretty open-ended, blank check kind of question. Jesus, will you give us whatever we ask for? No. What do you want? They said, we would like to sit at your right and left hands. We would like to be your right and left-hand man, the most important people in the kingdom when it comes. Boy, are they mistaken. And the other apostles, they're pretty upset with them. Not because they have broken some rule of humility. No, quite the contrary. They're upset because they beat them to the punch. See, all of them wanted special appointments and special opinions. They want to be great in the kingdom. Now listen, Jesus never rebuked them for trying to be great. Rather, he told them how to be great in the kingdom of God. And that's why this is the greatest leadership lesson ever. Jesus calls them, boys, gather around. I want to tell you something. You know, this is Jesus, you know that those who appear to be, or those who consider themselves or are considered rulers over the Gentiles. And the way it's translated is passive. Those who are regarded as passive. But the verb is actually active. It's not that the people regard them as leaders, but that they are promoting themselves as leaders. They have, and they are leaders. They have the right kind of security guards, the right kind of dress, the right kind of positions and titles. They are leaders, but they are self-promoting leaders. They use power for self-promotion and self-protection. But Jesus said, again, you know those who are regarded as rulers over the Gentiles, lord it over them. And the particular word he uses for lord it over them is a very harsh kind of a word. They are oppressive kinds of leaders. Who would that be? In the context of Mark's gospel, that's Herod and Pilate. They're the only rulers of the Gentiles in this book. Let's take Herod as an example. Herod, he was actually a pretty well-known ruler. He had power, he had guards, he had prestige. But at one of his parties, promoting himself as a ruler, he got a little tipsy. His wife sends her daughter, that's Herod's stepdaughter, probably about 13 years old, to dance. It was a licentious dance. And you're thinking, that's disgusting. Yes, when your mother sends you in to dance for her husband to turn him on, that is disgusting. Even more disgusting, he falls for it. Is so delighted with the dance that he makes her a promise. I'll give you up to half of my kingdom. She runs back to Mama and says, Mama, what do I ask for? The head of John the Baptist on a platter right here, right now. Herod is so afraid of losing face with his peers that he gives her what she asks against his better judgment. Why? Because rulers who promote themselves, who use power for self-promotion, self-protection, are slaves to their desire to be seen as rulers. Let me say that again. They are slaves to their desire to be seen as rulers. With Pilate, it's the same song, second verse. He does not want to crucify Jesus. He knows Jesus is innocent and over half a dozen times tries to release him. But when the Sanhedrin said, if you don't give us what we want, you are no friend of Caesar's. It was blackmail, extortion, to get them to kill the man they wanted gone. And Pilate capitulates. Why? Because all rulers who use power for self-promotion and self-protection are slaves to their desire to be seen as rulers. And so will you be as well. The only way to be free of the clutches of power is to use power for the protection of others, not yourself. So here's the lesson from Jesus. He said, even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. That wasn't just what Jesus did for us. It's what he modeled for us. And if you want to be a leader with the power and influence of Jesus Christ, we're not saying that I'm Jesus, you're Jesus, we're not saying that. But if you want to lead in the way Jesus does, it's called servant leadership. It became very popular from the 80s on. Not that a lot of people model it, but they have recognized through literature research on leadership the power of servant leadership. If you want to be that kind of leader, free from the clutches of being a slave to your desire to be seen as a leader, it is through service and suffering that you will have your greatest leadership impact.